Mastering IELTS Listening, the ultimate guide to scoring a band 9. My name's Matthew, an English language coach with over 15 years experience as a teacher. Welcome to your ultimate guide to mastering the IELTS listening. Whether you're a first-time test taker or looking just to improve your score and get to the next band level, this video is for you. This is going to be the best tips, strategies, and expert advice. But before we dive in with the details, let's start with the basics. The IELTS listening part is a crucial part of the exam, comprising of 25% of your total score. It lasts 30 minutes and consists of 40 questions, divided into 4 sections. These sections progressively get more and more difficult, covering a range of topics, from everyday social contexts to more complicated academic subjects. Your score for the IELTS listening will be based on the number of correct answers. To achieve a band 9, you're going to need to achieve 39 out of 40 marks. There are 6 question types in the IELTS listening. Let's just cover the 6 question types really quickly. The first one is multiple choice. You'll be listening to a recording and choose the correct answer from the list of options available. Fill in the blank. You'll need to fill in the missing word or phrases from the recording. Generally, the answers are just one word or a number. You need to pay close attention to the exact words spoken. Map labeling is number 3. You'll be given a map or a plan and asked to label specific locations or elements based on the information that you hear in the recording. Number 4, matching information. You'll need to match information given in the recording with the list of options provided. Number 5 is plan, map, or diagram labeling. Similar to the map labeling before, you might be asked to label a plan or a map or a diagram instead. And number 6, form or numeric completion. You'll need to complete a form or a sentence with information you hear in the recording. Each section of the test will provide you with a combination of these styles of questions, so you need to become accustomed to answering each of these styles. Find out which ones you find most difficult or try to practice them as often as possible to be able to catch the words or phrases. Often fill in the blanks are the most difficult for the majority of my students, and that's really important that you learn the techniques of listening that I'll explain later in the video on how to improve your ability to catch these words and numbers. So stay tuned for that. Now we've covered the listening format and we've also covered the types of questions you can face. Now we're going to cover what are the most important tips and tricks to be able to improve your skills as quickly as possible. Firstly, let's talk about time management. Time management in every section is extremely important and nonetheless the same in the listening. Make sure you read carefully the questions before you begin the listening as you have time to prepare, and underline or highlight words and phrases, expressions that you think will be key or important in the question form. This will help your brain to be alert and attentive to the words or phrases that could come up in the listening and allow you to anticipate what might be spoken in the listening, allowing your brain to be much more adept and much more accurate identifying the words and phrases you're about to hear. Step number 1 is make sure that if you do understand the word or the phrase concretely and you definitely know it, then make sure you answer and put it down. Step 2 is try to make an educated guess if you haven't caught the word or phrase based on your first or second attempt. Remember, it's only usually one word or one number, so try your best to tune your ear to be attentive to those words or phrases, but if you do miss them and you haven't got an answer, make sure you write something down. Make an educated guess based on the question and maybe based on what you did understand from the recording. Definitely put down an answer because you never know, you might be right. Pay attention to your spelling as you write down these words. This will be important because it's often marked by administrators in the office that are maybe not professional teachers. They mark it based on being exactly like it says on the marking sheet and maybe don't give you mercy based on your spelling. So give yourself time to make sure you double check your spelling on every word that you've written down. One key tactic that is extremely overlooked in improving your listening skills is using the speed button. So in the exam, of course, you cannot slow down the dialogue. But as you're training, as you're practicing, it's really important that you don't just do a listening, understand nothing, and then go and do another listening, understand nothing. Because this is meaning that the level of the listening is way too high for your ears. Your ears are not well trained at listening to the rhythm, the intonation, and the sounds produced by native English speakers yet. So what do I recommend? I recommend that you start finding material at a lower level than the IELTS exam. Find something online, whether it's A2, B1, B2. Find material online for listening and begin to listen to it at a slower speed. Train your ear to be able to hear it at minus X.5, for example, or minus X.1, for example. On YouTube, on Billy, you can slow down these audios. Slow them down and begin to pay attention until you can really capture the whole sentence, until you can really capture the whole understanding. Let's say, for example, you listen to an IELTS listening and you understood only 10% or only 20%. That means that this material is too challenging for you, and keeping practicing at this level is going to be really unwise and ineffective. So we're going to go find something that we understand 60% on the first listening, 70% on the first listening. This material is a good place for us to practice. And with this 60 or 70%, we're going to listen again the second time and try to find the other 10, 20, 30% that we didn't understand by slowing it down. Catching those words, catching those phrases, catching those expressions that we couldn't hear the first time in the second practice. People spend too little time on the same listenings and rush on to new ones. This is the worst way to practice. Spending time with a listening and getting to know it, getting to learn and absorb all that you can from a listening is a great way to increase your ear capacity. So I really encourage that you focus on finding material at your level. How do we know that? If it's 60 to 70% understood, this would be around your accurate level. And then you want to spend time repeating that 1 or 2 times on a slower speed, identifying the words, phrases, expressions that you couldn't catch the first time. And then step number 3, you're going to put it back to full speed and you're going to listen again and see if you can really catch it at that higher speed. Because you understand it at slower speed doesn't mean that you're going to catch it again when it goes up to the faster normal speed. So that's really important that you do these 3 steps and you begin to build up your listening skills over a period of time, and then go back to those IELTS listenings and find yourself much more capable of understanding the recordings.